K Street and
Yeah, but,
University.
so that drainage system was installed by County Highway. I don't remember when, few years ago. I originally had permission from the county highway engineer to use that system to pump water into. And then about 2 weeks before I thought I might start pumping last year, he come to me and says, well, I talked to the engineer to put that system together. He says, like, we really don't want you pumping water into there now because there's a infiltration basin in that system in front of the firehouse. And they didn't want me doing something to plug that off. So that bright idea that I had didn't work out.
And that would have gone into the river, right?
That would have gone directly to the river there.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So the other thing was, then I talked to DOT, because their drainage system is not tied to the county highway's drainage system. Their drainage system at the intersection of 371 and 21 goes all the way down past the cemetery on 21 and goes into a retention area. I don't even call it a pond because it doesn't have a lot of retention area there. So DOT didn't want me pumping water into that one because they thought I'd over
That's the
tax
wetlands, right?
that area and then cause problems. So I ended up not being able to do what I wanted to do by pumping last year. Fortunately, this is somewhat surface water fed and groundwater fed. So when the groundwater comes up, it raises the elevation of the water, and then if we go through a dry cycle, it's going to go back down again.
Do you have the gallons that were contained in this? I saw a report that had the gallons that was like billions of gallons.
I didn't estimate, but I can't remember what it
It'd
is.
be pretty stagnant.
And it's stagnant, and we have a problem. I mean, we've got mosquitoes that larvae, I mean, a huge mosquito problem because of this.
Didn't they used to come down Maple Avenue and drain underneath by Darrell Wallfingers?
Right,
It
Varner.
drained into the back of Daryl's yard. And, there must be a tremendous gravel bank in there that just sucks this water up as it drains in there. Of course, you know, it only ever fed as though it was a 3-inch line. You know, as long as the water was constantly down and the drainage was low, you know, it could handle it. I'm sure if you opened up right now a 6-inch line for all the water that was in there, it would probably flood the back of Daryl's house. So, you know, somehow this needs to be pumped to get it down, or when it does, and sometimes it goes down on its own. Last fall, miraculously, all that water just disappeared. And it never drained out that tile that ends, the opening is behind Daryl's house.
You've seen the opening, George?
Oh, I know where it right there it
So
is.
can you not scope up through there to see if it's collapsed there?
Once the water level gets down, we could do that because we could find the inlet. Can't find the inlet.
Oh, they're talking about where it comes out behind
where it
Daryl's
comes out.
Down
house.
Daryl's, because I believe, because in front of Empire Tractor, you see it bubbled up there.
Yeah.
So
Isn't
that's
it
what
broke
tells
someplace?
me it's
Yep.
under the 371 where it's collapsed, so it can't get through where the natural place was behind Daryl's all those years and seeps away. So I think that the tile is under 371.
Oh, I know it
That's
is.
correct.
We know where it goes under 371. We have a pretty good idea.
But isn't that my thinking, is that correct, that has
So
collapsed?
we're looking at a 100-year-old total system, right?
Mhm.
It's collapsed in one spot, possibly collapsed in more than one spot because it's ceramic clay tile.
Collapsed or filled in with soot.
Sediments and whatnot. Yeah, we could scope up through there, find out where the one plug is. Then what are you gonna do? You're just gonna repair that little section possibly, hopefully, maybe, cross your fingers and hope the whole thing works forever, or
Carol
Should we
Donahue and her son think they know where a spot is behind their house where it's been bubbling up also. And they thought that, they said somebody was out there with an auger, and 2 days later was when the water started bubbling up.
They were doing a fence, I think she
Yeah.
said, something like that. put
Yeah,
the
Well,
fence
she,
post.
and she said it was bubbling again, so they're pretty sure they.
Well, it's gonna bubble up when the
Yeah.
groundwater starts coming up. no
So do you
matter.
have a solution, Jeff?
I'm working on it.
What do you think now?
Well, we got a couple different options that I wanna do a survey on, to do a, survey to figure out where we can get the water to go, if we can get it to go under the highway where that drain was put, through Mr. Miller's seniors, right?
Yep.
Front yard, and get it back to that field on
In
the
the
other
field in
end,
the center of town,
the other end of that field, instead of out behind, I don't know the gentleman's name that lives where the drain
Varner?
comes out now.
Mel Varner.
Is that where the drain exits now?
It's in Mel Varner's yard is where
Yeah.
the drain actually is.
So, it would be a benefit if we could come up with a whole new system to get it to that field, away
It's not a
from.
big field though, is it, George? It's his backyard. It's in,
Well,
talking about
no,
this-
there's
No,
a,
there's a small cornfield.
there's a
back
cornfield.
There's a
back
cornfield right in the middle of town that my mother and my son own.
there. So we could we could
It's right,
actually
the whole
do
center
some
of town is actually,
grading and shaping and make a basin out of it. So that's one option. The other option I wanna look at is, routing, maybe possibly taking a look at a route around to what is called Pine Hill Creek or whatever, that goes under the town road and heads down through the fields I believe your son's work
Yeah.
operates.
That's what I thought you were going.
Well, that's another option, because that channel's got a lot of
That's-
capacity to it.
Yeah, it does.
And, I don't think it would be a lot of water in a normal year with a small tile dispersing it. I'm actually looking at pumping, if we get into the situation where we got a pumping from these folks' area on the north side of your fence, up over the hill into that drainage system, so that we can pump it down and have it go that way. I think that's the only place we can pump
Where will
to.
the water go? Will it end up in, I mean, from Sispansky's, if you pump it out of there, it's gonna go into,
Bid lax.
Tom and Mary and Russell's, then down to yours?
oh, that's where the water sits right now.
That's, yeah,
It's
that's
in
where
Tom
all
and
it
Mary's
is.
backyard.
It's in Tom and Mary's
Yeah.
backyard
Pretty
and
much from Empire Tractor all the way up to my driveway
Yeah.
is the area that it covers.
anyways, I didn't know if the town had access to asking the state for a grant, or,
Would that come from you, Jeff?
gotta know
ask
what
for
to do first.
cooperation?
yeah. I'm just saying if they come up with a solution, if,
Wouldn't you be the one that would collaborate with the state and counties and?
I could, but I really would like to have the township behind me when I start doing that, so I can say the town of Cohocton is working with Steuben County Soil and Water, so that we can tie a collaboration together, and then I can get more support that way, rather than me trying to go out on my own with a couple of landowners, you know what I mean?
Well, the town can't physically give you tax dollars to do it, but
Not
support
asking
wise.
for tax dollars, I'm
Resources,
asking
support.
for your
Mhm.
collaboration with me, and maybe signing on to a joint document that we send together for grant money someplace.
Mhm.
I think that's only fair to the community and fair to me, because it would help me out, it would,
it's truly an issue that the town needs to address, you know?
But as I said, we can't spend tax dollars for private property, but if it was a town road and that type of thing, but we're behind it, we can help you with the grant, we can put our name on the grant, but we can't do tax dollars because of, it's against the law.
I'm not
Right.
asking for your dollars.
I know you're not, but I want these people to understand that.
We understand, and the only reason that we did what we did was because we were told that Mrs. Pansky lost
And she did.
her homeowner's insurance.
Mhm.
And
Right, fire
I would
insurance,
not
yeah.
want my worst enemy,
No.
if we have children, if we could not get And we were told by Mark Fisher, because the driveway was flooded, that they would not take a fire truck in there.
Mhm.
No, these
And we
folks,
heard that.
they had to do what they had to do, and they did it properly. I met with them before.
And we were also told by
Before it
other
was
people when we
constructed.
started calling that we should not have bought the property. That's not what you tell people.
No. So the driveway was constructed in a way that large aggregate or cobbles was used as the base layer underneath so that we could get water transfer under that entire roadway that was put in. There is also still a culvert underneath the existing driveway that is functioning. The interesting thing was that we did have some surface water coming from the north, was actually flowing across the driveway the day I was there, which was really interesting. It was flowing towards the tractor.
Flowing into the
Flowing
muck
into the
behind
muck
that
area.
fire tractor.
So we had flow going that direction from this area here, so
And the flow is just coming out of absolutely nowhere.
we don't know where it's coming from.
Just like
Could be
there was
coming up out of the
springs
ground.
coming
It's
out
like-
of their entire property,
Yeah.
just driving this
So
water
anyway,
across.
You know,
That's why
you-
I'm involved, I guess.
Yeah, what, I would say whatever you need us to do, I think the board would give you the support, as long as it's not monetary, you know. Whatever you tell us we need. Is that it?
Anything for
Now,
the
how
peanut
does-
gallery?
How does the board or the town spend any money at all if you can't use it to improve or,
It's not a town road.
no, I'm not talking about town roads. I'm talking about, issues that the town might have that need to be corrected.
Well, these sound to me like private property matters. I mean, the water is arising on a piece of private property, and it's being drained across other parcels of private property, and at some point it crosses under a state highway, and then it's being drained or disposed of on other parcels of private property. And I think Cheryl is absolutely right when she says this is not a proper thing to expend town money on. I have no problem with the town, assisting you in whatever way is reasonable in applying for grants and signing on, saying the town of Cohocton supports this application. But so far as expending town funds to fix what, it's a problem that affects several parcels of land and property owners, and I get that. But it seems to me like this is a private property matter.
Jeff?
Well, I would agree with you if it was one parcel that was creating the issue. But the issue is coming from the whole town. When the whole town is contributing to this issue, the town should bear some of the responsibility to repair it, or,
How
This
is
is-
the town contributing? Can you explain it to me?
it's the landowners of the town, which if you ask me, that encompasses the town.
You're saying the whole town, part of the town, that's not the whole town.
Well, a good share of the town, of the town of North Cohocton. What is it?
North Cohocton's not a town.
Well, okay.
Jeff?
It sounds to me, and I'm a little familiar where you're talking, if the tile under the state route was to get opened back up, would that solve the problem?
They
So
put
it
a new one
flowed
in.
under the state route?
They didn't. They
What-
didn't put one in.
No?
No, what they put in, you're asking if the tile underneath, the existing tile underneath the
You
state
said there's a
road
collapsed tile.
someplace.
Does someone have a blank piece of paper? I can
Don't.
somewhat draw a map
As
so
long as
that,
you give me back my thing.
Well, I can get it.
so that everybody understands just,
Jeff, tell me this,
Yes,
we have a water district up there.
yeah,
None of this goes into the water district, correct?
I have no idea what you mean by
I
a water
just-
district.
Just, that would be the only thing I can think of that would be a town.
Are you talking about the town's water,
supply.
drinking water supply?
Right, that's caught up there, it's run through pipes, we have not had any report of any.
There may be
breaking.
a issue with a new drainage system and the existing water system, yes.
That you would be, right,
Well, this does come down where the old water line was. The
Yeah.
old water line that fed the entire town runs right down, through Empire Tractor.
Is
It comes
that,
down off the hill and back
Comes
to your
down
place.
off the hill. I'll show you
But
it
doesn't
exactly
hit-
where the old
is
water
that
line
abandoned
was.
now?
pardon?
Is
Oh,
that
from the tank
system
up there?
abandoned? The water tower that's up
No,
on, the-
No, that's
no.
used.
that's
we're
still used?
Yeah.
doing major repairs
But
to that.
I have not had any
Inspection.
reports of it getting in there or, because that would be a town, it would be a water district problem. That isn't even a town
Oh.
problem. That's a water district problem, but I haven't heard any of that. So that would be the only thing that would,
Oh, you're
that I
trying to
can-
tie it, well, I see
that would
what you're
tie
doing.
us in. Do you see
Yeah.
what I mean?
Well, I know what you're saying.
But then if you're
So
thinking
if I put a leak in the pipe, then we got an issue.
then, once again, you're only the water district, which is just those people in the district, not the whole town.
And which doesn't have
And
much
they've got
money.
enough of a problem as it is.
Okay. You know exactly where we're talking, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. This right here is, it lays just like this. This right here is Route 21,
Yeah.
comes up and heads towards Naples. Route 371 comes down here in front of Empire Tractor. The old town water line comes right here next to Empire Tractor. And Jeff and I had talked about if it was possible that this old water line was contributing. Well, this water line used to leak. They would dig up
They
constantly.
broke that a few years back.
It broke constantly. That's the reason that we have a new water line that comes down Pine Hill Road. Anyways, right here in the corner of this muck land, behind several houses here that flood everybody, Bill Cave's property, Old Stepanski's that he just bought, comes right here at the corner of the muck.
That being Tom and Mary's.
Tom and Mary's would be right in here somewhere, Tom and Mary Russell. And right here in the corner of this muck is where the drain actually is.
Yeah.
And it runs right down somewheres across Empire Tractor. Where my dad was pretty sure of where it crossed Route 371. And it goes into this, there's right here in the center of town.
I'm getting there.
Cornfield, and it drains right here into the back of Melbourne's property.
Cornfield used to be in back of my house.
So, now, if there's a break here, the potholes here on the road were terrible for years, the last couple years. And in my estimation, I think it's very possible that those potholes led to the collapse. Tractor trailers coming down through there, hitting those potholes. Also, it happened about the time that they put in a new septic, the new leach field in front of Empire Tractor, right here. And then the water started draining out right here in front of Empire Tractors. Running down the road, the DOT called me and said, you've got to fix your line because you've got water running down the muck, or running down the side of the road, septic water. I told them,
So George, what did the county actually do when it dug underneath by the Empire Tractor
that was
over in
the
front of your
state.
place?
That was
The
the
state?
state. The state put in a culvert
Through there.
right here that just goes underneath the road. It's a culvert about this big.
Yeah.
And then they put plates in and they just covered it up.
So where's it supposed to go?
It's only there in case Jeff could drain the muck with his huge pumping
Oh, they
rig.
just put that in.
And then he could pump it